I'm joined by Justina, Liz and Lorna, and mother and daughter Justina and Liz, and you are also the authors of Unplanned Paths, A Stroke of Luck and Life. Talk to me about your book and what made you decide to write this together.
Thanks, Hannah. I'm grateful to be here. So my mum had a stroke in 2004, and in the last 5 years, I would say, she's been keen to document her life and her journey, particularly post-stroke, and what that's meant. And I guess in 2020, when the pandemic struck, it really occurred to me that we can't take life for granted. Being in lockdown and really needing, having as much time together as possible. So my mum and I, we lived together. And I kind of felt that I had always said, oh, next year I'll support with the book. And I would say it never came to pass. So last year we started writing the book, Unplanned Paths. We weren't sure on the title, but what we were sure of was that my mum had a really rich story to share, which I believe could have the potential to really inspire and encourage other people who are perhaps hit by devastation, but look at the opportunities that come with that. My mum then thought it would be a good idea that we've lived parallel lives, that it would be a nice touch for me to share a bit about my life. Now, I'm introverted, my mum is very extroverted. So the book hopefully is a nice complement of both of our lives and experiences. But as Black women, we are both born and bred in South London, and we thought it was really important to share that journey. And Lorna has played an incredible part of my mum's journey in ensuring that my mum has a really rich experience.
And that's so much you gave me such great love.
Yeah, I think that's really true. So I think part of my mum's rehabilitation is that she was in a care home for 5 years before she moved home, and it was really important. And obviously being in a care home setting meant there were certain things that my mum was unable to kind of maximize her rehabilitation. And when Lorna joined us, she thought my mum could achieve a lot more. And so Lorna has worked really hard to ensure that my mum's got as much independence as she can, and a full life. And also Lorna's been able to go on our adventure. My mum is a very adventurous woman. She likes to try all things. So Lorna's done lots of singing things that she probably never done before. We've gone on trips in the Caribbean to Jamaica and had lots of adventurous experiences. So we as a family are really grateful. And I think on International Women's Day, it's really important that we don't just talk about the people that are impacted by the stroke, but the amazing support system that we have. And we're very, very fortunate that amazing International Women's Day on Women's Day is Lorna for us.
Oh.
Lorna, how does that feel to hear that? I mean, these are two brilliant women, and they're crediting you with their woman of 2022.
I'm overjoyed to hear it, really. But actually, I've come here like working with Liz, and she's a woman that takes on challenges, and it just means working with her to take on her challenges. And I know that she can meet quite a lot of them. As Justina was saying, being sort of institutionalized, some of that empowerment was taken away from her, and I could see that she could do a lot of things given the time, and just working with her to support her through it. And she's met a lot of challenges. I don't think there's any we haven't met that we put towards her. Might get a mouthful, but she does it.
How important then is it to share your story of what you guys have been through to inspire others, I guess?
To inspire people to look at me as they're very inspirational. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you are. You are inspirational. What's inspirational about it? You take on lots of things. You do a lot. You quite good to work with because she actually helped me. She actually helps me sometimes look at things in a different way. So it kind of works both ways. I know I'm here to care for her, but she can actually talk me through things which people don't often know because we're alone a lot. So we get it on. You know.
And I think one thing I would say why I think my mum inspires a lot of people is she had a stroke really young, 37, and this was life-changing. My mum lived a very full life, was living abroad, and raising 2 children single-handedly, and independence for my mum is something my mum's always lived. Exactly, something we've always lived by. And I think why I think people are inspired by your story is that in spite of, you know, your stroke, you're not able to walk, but that doesn't stop you from still having a groove in your chair. Still doesn't stop you from seeing life. Your glass is always half full.
Amen.
My mum's just always got a new lease of life, and there's nothing that she feels that she can't do. So
life is for living.
Life is for living. And that's it. So that's why it's inspiring, because there are many people that go through life and are hit with many things that are not as life-changing as yours, and you still remain optimistic.
You have to be 35. I've got life 18 months before I had 2 hours to live. The doctor gave me just 2 hours to live. I do you believe in God?
My mum said, do you believe in God? Because she was given 2 hours to live, and
but God has given me 18 years.
Yes. And we don't take that for granted.
I got my African name is I came to eat Obiageli.
So my mum's saying her African name, which is Obiageli, and it means I came to this world to enjoy. And so my mum tries to eat, and my mum tries to live that motto every day.
Do you know what I was going to say to you? What do you want people to take away from reading the book? But you're full of just positivity. Is that what you want people to get from it?
Yeah.
I also want people, you know, people that have been impacted by a brain injury, but also I would really want allies. So that's people who perhaps don't know much about brain injuries to read the book and recognize that life can turn upside down overnight, and that they should, if you do have a headache, if you do have any signs that perhaps are early warning trigger signs of a stroke, don't ignore them. And also I would encourage you, if you do encounter someone who has suffered a brain injury, to look at ways in which you can play a small contribution to their life. And if they don't know, then they can also contribute to Headway, which is why for us we have chosen to donate the proceeds of the book to Headway, because it's really important to raise awareness of the amazing work that Headway is doing to enrich the lives of the individuals, the carers, family members, because so many a times people who have suffered a support network is so important, and we have definitely found that in Headway.
This is about a story about a mother and daughter. How has your relationship been impacted by the stroke?
I didn't want to say that about the
You've got the best daughter ever, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I didn't want to say that.
Okay, you challenge anyone to they've got a better daughter, and I'm flattered. I think it's a difficult one because, you know, we've grown closer, but it's also trying to really get this fine line between carer and child, mother, daughter, and we live together. You've now become a grandmother.
Amen.
And all that is going on whilst I've obviously had to build my own career and navigate life. So I think we're definitely a good. Yes, so that's something my mum feels really strongly about. That whilst I am her spokesperson,
my daughter.
I'm her daughter, and my mum also has her own voice, and it's really important that you're you're able to speak for yourself.
When they don't know, they say Justina.
She said they don't let her, they say Justina.
Is that then nice for you to have your voice in that book?
Definitely. It's his voice in town.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I'd say more of the book is my mum than myself.
Really?
Yeah, because it's really important that people hear your journey and your experience.
It's out there. I don't like how people put everything by you. And another thing I don't like is how we have our law. Everything goes by all the directions. I absolutely hate that.
And that's one of the challenges, right? And this is where we hope to be able to educate people. Yes, my mum has had a stroke. Yes, she's out in the community with
yes, I'm in a wheelchair.
Yes, but you're still here. You're very visible, and it's important that people address you as Liz.
They don't. They put everything to law first.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for sharing all of that with us. And I can't wait to read a copy of the Unplanned Paths, because, just to see your story before and after stroke, and to do that together and with the support of Lorna, just sounds wonderful. So thank you so much for your time.
That's okay. And so the book will be available to purchase on Brain Injury Awareness Week. So we're intentionally tying that to another great initiative that Headway are doing. And again, that's really to really promote Headway and the great work, and that's in May. And so we'll be doing that then.
Thank you so much. We so appreciate all your help and support.